Hello, welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger. The date is Sunday, June 14, 2020, and you are looking out at the night, looking out at my backyard, out of my kitchen window. And this is week number 14. Wow, of the coronavirus social distancing, staying home, all that stuff. Honestly, I must say, for me personally, it has not felt like I've been staying more or less home for 14 weeks. Things just seem like they go by really fast, and I mean, there were a few rough patches here and there, such as such as today. Today, I woke up in the morning, and as usual, I reached over to check the time on my phone. And my phone was as dead as yesterday's grave. It was cold and dead, and despite me plugging it into the power cord and charging it for half an hour, trying to turn it on, plugging it into the computer, trying to connect it to iTunes, it was dead. Dead, dead, dead. And that was bad. Immediately, I started to look for my old backup phone and connect that, and the next 4 hours went by in a flash of frustration and cussing and swearing quietly to myself. And finally, I got my backup phone up running and uh, up to spec, so it's operational. Keep in mind that 4 hours right after getting out of bed, no breakfast, no shower, no coffee, so psychologically I wasn't in the best place. In my head, I was calculating how much it's going to cost to get a new phone and what it's going to mean, what data I have to transfer over, and all kind of equations, and who am I going to get to help me to go to the store with, who's going to give me a ride, uh, and so on and so on. How am I going to pay for the new phone? What new phone I should get, and all that stuff. Finally, I decided, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. It's Sunday. I got the backup phone running, and no more I can do today. Time to put this down and go take a shower and get something to eat. By this time, it's middle of the afternoon already. So I went to take a shower. I went and had something to eat. I finally made coffee, and after having coffee, I started to feel more or less human again. I came back to the room. I realized I left the dead and broken phone on the charger. So I walked over to the charger and picked up the phone, unplugging it from the charger, and suddenly the phone started talking to me. It was working again. It was working just fine after being charged for the last hour and a half while I was tending to other stuff. So I put the backup phone back in the drawer where it came from and reconnected everything, the SIM card and all that stuff, to the now no longer dead, or can we say now undead phone. Good grief, my phone is a zombie. Hmm, interesting thought. But anyway, I had a brief moment where I felt this extreme appreciation, like people describe what it's like to be uh, near death or to have something taken away and then be given a second chance. I feel that me and my phone just grew this much closer today because I thought it was dead. It acted like it was totally dead, and now it's working again. And that inspires today's post. Now you may say, what does that have to do with what we're talking about today? Well, let me tell you. As a blind person, as blind people, or people with disability, I can even expand that. But I want to keep this as narrow as just for those of us with visual impairment, because that's where I know what I'm talking about. As a blind person, I spent my life having to put up with and deal with and internalize and forget about very unpleasant comments from people. Now, with all these protests going on, protests about discrimination about African American people, discrimination about uh, the indigenous people, the Aboriginal people, and protest about discrimination against the uh, LGBT community. Uh, some disabled people have raised the question, okay, when are we, as disabled people, going to get our protest? When will our voices be heard? And that is really difficult because while the society have uh, treated the other minorities with blatant discrimination, sometimes, quite often, what we get as disabled people are discrimination disguised as good intentions. We get comments that sound like they were meant to be positive, while to our ear they are extremely hurtful and negative. That is what I'm going to talk about today. Some of the comments, some of the worst kind of comments I've gotten in my lifetime that were really not meant to be that bad, probably came from good intention, but were extremely hurtful to my ears and my heart. I remember many, many times when I conversed with someone, it could be a friend or a stranger, that someone would say something like, man, I try to go through my day with my eyes closed, or the other day at work we had to do this blindfolded, and now I know how hard your life is. Man, I really have new appreciation for what things are like for you. Now, I'm sure these people really think they know what it's like being blind. But let me tell you guys this. Just by putting on a blindfold, just by closing your eyes while you go through your daily chores, while you go for a walk, because of some drills required for whatever program you're in, that does not even begin to show you what life is for us. That would be to say that it gives you an idea of what it's like by doing that would be like me hitting the punching bag for half an hour and loudly announce, "Man, now I know what it's like to be a UFC fighter." It is nowhere similar because of two major reasons. Reason number one, for a lot of us, the part that hurts, the part that's hard, is not being blind, but the hopelessness of ever being able to see again. By you closing your eyes or putting on a blindfold, you know that whenever things get rough, whenever you get scared, you get to open your eyes or take off that blindfold. The rest of us, those of us who are visually impaired, we have no such hope. It's not something that we can do anything about. You may experience not being able to see, but you do not experience the hopelessness that some of us go through every day. Reason number two, by you saying that it was so hard to do things without sight, that is not our reality. That is your reality as a sighted person going suddenly blind. For most of us, going through our daily life is not hard at all. I'm saying most of us because there are some of us that find it really hard, depending on the length of time that we've been blind and so on and so on. But by saying that it was so hard and now you know what we're going through, you are negating all the good stuff in our life. You're seeing the bad thing because that's what you were experiencing suddenly going without sight. For the rest of us, taking a shower, shaving, cooking, mopping the floor, going up and down stairs, it's not that bad, really. Sometimes life are very enjoyable. So now, by putting on that blindfold or shutting your eyes for a few hours or few days, that doesn't give you the right to say that you now know what we go through or how we feel. Like I said, I get all kinds of comments in public. I have people coming up to me when I'm going to work, total strangers coming up to me and say, "I just want to tell you that you're so inspirational that you're blind and you're walking all on your own." Again, sound like something very positive that they just said, but to me, that's extremely offensive. Now, if you want to see why I would feel that way, imagine for a second if you are elderly and someone come up to you and say, uh, "Wow, I see that you're so old, but you're still walking around on your own. You're so inspirational." Or let's say someone come up to you, let's say for the ladies out there, someone come up to you and say, "Hey, I see that you're a woman, but you're out and about on your own without a man's help. You're so inspirational." Or let's say you are a shorter person and someone come up to you and say, "Hey, wow, I just want to tell you that for someone so short, you dare to come out and walk about and be among us taller people. You're so inspirational." Now you're probably beginning to understand why saying to a blind person, "Hey, you're so inspirational because you're blind and yet you're out and about." That is, to us, that is not a compliment. That is negating all the real achievement that we have accomplished in our lifetime. Do I think that I'm inspirational? Do I think that I'm really cool? Oh, sure. But I rather you take a second to get to know me and actually let me show you me fighting my martial art, me teaching blind people, me being involved in various documentaries, and me performing music in front of thousands of people. Now, then you can tell me that I'm inspirational, and then I will take that as a compliment. But until then, if all you are going to say is I'm inspirational because I managed to dress myself and feed myself and be out and about and walk around like a normal person, that is not very flattering. There was one time when a lady actually came up to me when I was on the bus, and she said, "You know, you're so inspirational. I don't know how you can do it. If I was blind like you, I would kill myself." I was flabbergasted. I was like, "Whoa, seriously? You just said that to me. If you were blind, you would kill yourself." Wow, lady, I all I can say is I feel sorry for you because you have such low expectation for yourself. Interestingly enough, sometimes the worst comments, the most hurtful comments, don't come from strangers. They come from people who are supposed to know us and love us. Let me give you a few more examples from families and friends. I remember this one came from my father. My father said to me, "You should be able to get more done as a blind person because you don't have distraction like the rest of us. You can't see beautiful girls, so you won't spend your day thinking about beautiful girls. You can't see other people wearing nice clothes, so you won't be worried about having to dress nice or anything. You can focus all your attention on whatever you're doing." Really? Dad? So you think because I'm blind, I don't have a sex drive? That you think because I'm blind, I don't have any friends that would talk to me about fashion or how to look nice? Oh, that's so sad. The, the kind of world that you think a blind person lives in, that must be a really, really boring world. Quite the contrary. My life is full of distractions. Thinking about things I want, thinking about places I want to go, and so on and so on. Just because I'm blind doesn't mean that what I want is not the same as the rest of you. I remember this one night I was having a drink with one of my best friends, and he made this comment which he almost always would make when he got drunk. Very earnestly, he reached over the table and put his hand on my wrist, and he said, "Johnny, whenever I look at you, I feel so sad." And I was like, uh, okay, why? And he said, "Because I see what you can accomplish as a blind person. So I know that if you were sighted, you would probably be a billionaire or some really high ranking politician or high ranking business person right now. You would be so much more than you are. Make me so sad to see that you are hampered by your blindness." That comment just made me want to reach across the table and punch him right on the nose. Because what is the point of saying that? You think I don't feel that? Do you think that I don't live every day of my life thinking that I could be so much more? If I was sighted, I might be fighting in the UFC now. If I was sighted, I might be making a lot more money. Well, actually, there's no might about it. I would be making a lot more money by doing a lot less than I am now. But do you think that saying that to me, giving me that pity and giving me that sympathy is going to make me feel better? So how about this one? I was teaching my kid class one day, and one of my kid students, 9 years old, turned to me, "Hey, Sensei, what did you get for Canada in the World Championship?" And I said, "I got silver for Canada in the championship." And he said, "Sensei, it's too bad that you were blind, because if you were sighted, you would be getting that gold. You're the best fighter in the world, but you got silver because you were blind." If it wasn't a crime, I would take that kid out back and dunk his head under a bucket of water. Again, that kind of comment coming from a kid, of course, we can't really blame children. Sometimes they don't really know what they're talking about. But that comment was so cruel and cut so deep because it is something that I think about very often. Would I be a much better martial artist if I was sighted? Maybe if I was sighted, then I would be making millions with my martial art rather than teaching children for free. Oh yeah, and this one's a doozy. I remember this conversation with another one of my good friend. Now, this friend had known me for 4 or 5 years by the when he made this comment. He saw me fight, he saw me train, he saw me perform, he saw me take silver for Canada. So you can imagine how much of a shock and disappointment and how much it hurt it was for me when he made this comment. We were sitting in his car, and he said, "So what are you going to do for the rest of the day?" I said, "Oh, I got to rest up a little bit, and then I got to uh, go to work." And my friend said, "What do you mean work? What do you do for work?" And I said, What do you mean what I do for work? I teach martial art." And he said, "Yeah, but you're only teaching those blind people for free, right?" I said, "No, I I do teach blind people for free, but I have sighted students that pay me to teach them." And my friend, without missing a beat, said, "But why would any sighted person want to pay you to teach them? You are blind. You can't fight like any sighted person." Ow. Like, ow. Coming from a good friend who should and did know better, this cut to the core. And yet, those of us who are disabled and active have to put up with things like this our whole lifetime without anyone going out there to say to the world for us, hey, this have to stop. These are people. They have feelings. I know that it's a little bit grim for Soul Search Sunday, but like I said before, Soul Search Sunday is basically whatever is on my mind. So I apologize if this was a little bit heavy, but I hope that at the same time it opened your eyes to be a little bit more aware, be a little bit more sensitive when you interact with your disabled family member or your disabled friend. Sometimes, before you make a comment, it is important to sit back and think about, would this comment really be necessary or positive? Or is this comment designed more for you to feel good, but going to come across as patronizing and offensive? Thank you for checking out today's Soul Search Sunday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Music Monday. For now, stay safe, stay strong, and have a good night.